Welcome to our podcast, Life According to Lisa
and Jim occasionally.
and Jim too.
Here and there, in and out, in the cracks. I'm in the cracks.
Today's episode is location.
It's not just about real estate. It's about writing a book and putting locations in it.
It's the real Brooklyn behind the Brooklyn Witch.
Or the real places in Brooklyn, anyway.
Yes. There's a version of Brooklyn that still exists, but you have to know where to look. Sometimes it's behind a shop door, and sometimes it's on a quiet block. Sometimes it only exists in memory. But Today, we're going to take you inside the real locations behind the Brooklyn Witch and the ones that shaped it.
Right. We're going to talk about different places that were utilized for the Brooklyn Witch, just like we took certain people and we utilized for the Brooklyn Witch. And
you're right what you know.
Just because they resemble it, it's not actually that person. So just so that it resembles that location, it's not.
We change the names to protect the innocent.
It's not actually that location. So if we go into a restaurant and puke because we ate there, we're not really that. That really happened in that restaurant.
Jim, this is how we're starting. We're
starting with blood and guts from the beginning.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those podcasts. Pay attention, folks. All right. I'm going to take the ball back here. The Sealy Court. Okay, that is the store in the Brooklyn Witch. That is the name. We talked about that before. It's based on a real place. It's actually based on our store called Lily's Valise that was located in Carroll Gardens. We had that shop for 10 years in the same location. And that same door that I opened every single day is the door Speranza opens to get into her shop. So I didn't invent the Sealy Court. I lived it. So the shop just wasn't a store, it was a whole world. People came from all over, not just a shop, but they came to talk and connect. I made a lot of friends. They wanted to share what was going on in their lives.
They overshared, actually.
Jim, you had a lot of fun with that.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
There was an energy in that
I loved every minute of it.
There was an energy in that place, and it was warm, and it was alive. And when I look back now, it was magical. So I just didn't know I was going to write a story about it yet.
Well, yes, you adapted the story. It's not specifically about it, and the people who came aren't actually characters. So if you're a former Valise person, don't think that you're going to show up.
No.
Unless you want to be, and you can send us an email. And
or
if you
just make a comment, say, hey, I shopped in your store. Write about me.
Exactly. Just make sure you prove that you bought the book, and then we'll talk about it.
My marker.
We don't want good wishes. We want you to buy the book, okay?
You got to read it. It's fun.
Right. And buy a hardcover, please.
No, they're really beautiful.
Yes.
I changed it up for the hardcover.
I mean, if you're really cheap and you're only going to buy the ebook, all right, fair enough. But buy a book.
Okay. That's what
it's about, Lisa.
This podcast is about selling the book?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So what I want to talk about is how everyday Brooklyn became part of the story. So places in the book that are rooted to real Carroll Garden locations. So let's talk about
formal locations.
Some of them are still there. The one that I'm going to talk about right now is presently alive and kicking.
Right.
Vinny's.
Of Carroll Gardens, yes.
Yes. Okay. It's still there. People still go and frequent and still love it.
And the lady at the card store said it was her favorite restaurant.
That's right. She's like my favorite. I said, well, it's in the book. We just call it Sal's.
So Vinny had a great idea.
If you know, you know. If you know Vinny's, you know, you know.
He had a great idea because what happens was we could go to a pizzeria and they could have the best chicken cutlet parmesan or the best meatball hero or whatever. But because it's a pizza store, you just say, I'm getting a pizza. You don't really think of getting that. And I'm always shocked. Like sometimes we go out with Lisa's friends and they order chicken at a pizzeria. I'm going, it's a pizzeria. I would never think to do that. But people do. But his idea was have like that kind of a store, but with no pizza. So he had a steam table like the old Blarney Stone, and you'd walk in and he'd have everything lined up. He'd have the fish.
So do you know Vinny's does not have pizza? Just letting you guys that you're listening, Vinny's does not have pizza.
Yes, and when he first started and people would say, hey, you should have pizza, he would throw them out, which was good. So what happened with Vinny, just a quick story, Vinny's brother Nunzio owned, Vinny's brother Nino owned Nino's restaurant on Union Street, where Lisa and I went on our second date.
Union and Henry.
Yes, and he also owned the pizzeria around the corner. But unfortunately, he had a little bit of a gambling.
It was a nice restaurant.
A little bit of a gambling problem. This is the inside neighborhood scoop that you're going to get. and I could tell stories about all the stuff, which I won't. Those will be in my books when they come out, if they do. And
I mean, if
when they
we're
do.
working on it.
Yeah.
Jim has some books. I don't know if my audience would read his book.
Yes,
but
pretty much it precludes anybody that enjoys nice and healthy things and not going to enjoy it. But whatever. So had a gambling problem, and his brother, who did all the work in the store and did all the food and cooking and stuff, while Nina walked around placing bets and being a knucklehead, he turned around
so
and
sad when someone has a gambling.
he said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up my own place." Now, what was funny was the location of it was a hair salon that I did the taxes for. And what was really funny was they had the hair salon with the old-fashioned hair dryers, you know, the huge ones that the old ladies would put
in your hair.
Yes.
Shame on you.
Right. So the woman that ran it, she didn't do a lot of cutting of hair. She didn't like to cut hair, actually, which is great. You know, you're a hairstylist, you don't want to cut hair. That's wonderful. But what she liked to do,
oxymoron.
she made a lot of money with blowouts. So these like 60-year-old ladies would come and get their hair blown out, you know, because they were going to look good to go to church or whatever they were doing.
She probably teased it up and everything.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It wasn't like they were going to the Copa. Maybe in their minds that's what they were doing.
Like
but
at the Buffon hair.
yes, they were just going to Red Rosa, Casa Rosa to have an eggplant.
Or they were going to jail.
To visit their husbands or spouses or kids.
Because they used to come to me and I used to dress them up.
But what was comical was I would be in the back and they would tell these all involved, very disgusting sexual stories amongst themselves. And then I'd walk out, okay, here's what you got to sign. And went, oh my God, there was a man here.
The whole time.
Exactly.
But you used to do that in the store because you were behind the wall.
Right. And people didn't know that. And women would give their like most details. And I say, oh crap, I really got to pee, but I have to sit here because I don't want the lady to see me when she talked about her most deepest, darkest secrets. I got to wait till she goes in the dressing room and then I'll sneak out. So the lady that owned the store, just quickly to wrap it up, she said to me, I can't believe it. They're throwing me out. I said, well, don't you have a lease? No, I never had a lease. I said, well, there you go. She said, and you know what he's going to do? He's going to put in a food store. Why would he have a pizzeria? She said it was a pizzeria. Why is he going to do a pizzeria in the middle of the block? Nobody's going to come to it in the middle of the block on Smith Street. It's ridiculous. I said, well, I don't know anything about that. Sorry. And I didn't really care because she paid me $25 every time I came. It wasn't a lot of money. So I really didn't want to do it. I inherited a lot of places I didn't want to do that my father used to do. And I couldn't get rid of the people. They would literally cry, you know, and come to my house and bang on the door and cry. And my mother would say, what are you doing? Give it to help the people out. And I would say, whatever. So she left and Vinny's came in and it was great. So when we used to go, Lisa would go and I knew Vinny from the neighborhood and everything. So he knew me and my family and my uncle especially. And then Lisa would come in if I wasn't there and she would do her famous line that she always said.
What's my famous line?
I don't know what to get. Get me whatever Jim got.
Now, in the book, Speranza goes to Sal's to pick up dinner. And Vinny, and of course, Sal makes fun of the fact that her husband wasn't cooking. And it would be the same conversation that I would have with Vinny. Right.
What's great about Vinny's is it's old-fashioned Southern Italian cooking. And what was funny was the old ladies that were in my ear, when we were there, who were getting really old in their 80s and 90s, couldn't cook anymore. So on, you know, the time of the Seven Fishes and, you know, Christmas Eve, they would go and order. And he'd make like 100 seafood platters because they trusted him to make old school food, you know, like the way we liked it. And it's a delicious place. If you have a chance to go there.
Well, speaking about people going to take out for the holidays, you had told me the bakery, College Bakery, didn't they bake all the turkeys?
Yes, back in the days in the 40s and 50s, College Bakery on Court Street, they would help out the people who didn't really have a good oven because not everybody had the fancy ovens that we have today. They would go and bring their turkey and, you know, for a nominal fee, they would bake the turkey for the people, and which was very nice of them. Mainly the Irish people,
but
because
Jim still talks about College Bakery like it just closed last year.
Yeah, and it became a spa of all things. And that's the thing that kills you when you walk place a place that was a pastry store or was a bakery or was a pork store or a really nice little restaurant, and it's a nail place, and you're like,
Everything's a nail place.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every time I see a closed store, when it's coming soon, then it's a nail place or a fast food.
I don't understand that. Someone has to explain the economy of that. How so many nail places can survive.
Unless they're fronts. I don't know.
But how many fronts can you have? I mean, you know, There's got to be a back. Everything
There's
can't be a
mystery.
front.
It's a mystery of a nail salon. I don't know the answer to
I don't understand it at all. There's not that many people that get their nails done. I'm sorry. There are a lot of people, but not that many. That there has to be one in every block.
It's more. Sometimes it's more than one on a
Yeah,
block.
it doesn't make any sense. Now, Lisa's was friendly with her nail person, and we learned the economy of it and how much money you make, and you don't really do that well. And it's a lot of labor-intensive things, You can only have so many people to get it done. So it was really, doesn't make any sense. But that's neither here nor there. What are you going to do?
I know.
So we're talking about locations in all the different parts of
Well,
Brooklyn.
let's talk about in between places. Like when we walked from the house to the store, just like Speranza does in the book.
Right.
We used to do
There were two very important places that we would stop. I would always stop at the pizza store.
World Pizza. Was it World Pizza?
World Pie, yes.
World Pie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You.
And Lisa, where would
I
Lisa
don't
stop?
know how many slices of pizza this man had when he was out on the street when I was in the store, and he would run out to go shopping. I don't know how many slices. of
Well,
pizza he
I
had.
would have to do a taste test. So I would go to Sal's, I would go to World Pie, I would go to Vinny's, I would go to each one and just say,
He was always out doing errands.
I wouldn't go to Narco Polo because they had opened up a fancy pizza. We would eat there a lot, but they had like the thin crust pizza. That was high class.
No, he just wanted a slice of pizza. But there was an antique store.
Yes.
It's still there. Yesterday's
Right.
news is still there. And it is in the book because I used to stop there. I don't know how many things I bought there for the store.
Yes, you bought the little sewing machine.
Furniture to a desk, chairs, coat racks. I mean, there were so many things that I bought from
She
there.
bought an antique sewing machine that we put in the window.
The black singer with the
Right.
painted flowers.
When we had the TV show, we bought a huge trunk for the trunk show episode.
Yeah, you showed up with the hand truck with the trunk on it and a slice of pizza in the other hand.
Correct. They did. I had a beautiful setup. They didn't cut all. They didn't use any
That
of that.
ended up on the cutting room floor,
But what happened was,
but it was a great shot.
yes, there was a lot of. Lisa always found we bought the ducks there.
Oh, the ducks, the cement ducks.
Yeah.
We still have them.
Yes, we do. We still have things. She bought a stool that she still uses to this very day. It was very funny. I picked it up and I looked at it, and then I went to look at something at the front, and the guy ran, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm not stealing it. Relax."
It has Eddie scratched in it.
Yes.
It's hilarious, but it's a great little stool to step
Yeah,
up
it was
on.
Eddie Stamparisi's. He used it before he hung himself.
Oh my God.
Eddie Stamparisi didn't hang himself.
I don't want to know anything about. Moving on
To the next story.
I wasn't just shopping. I was collecting pieces of a story. I didn't know I was writing yet. So bringing in that beautiful little antique store was fun. I think they might have like 3 storefronts now. I think they've taken over.
Well,
another
the family's into real estate, so they got in on it and got a lot of good
when Ray's
spaces.
went away. Well, anyway, there's this deep personal layer of locations, and some of the most meaningful places in the book come from real homes. So let's talk about that.
Yes.
How Nona's house was based on.
It was based on my house, my Italian grandmother's house, Restituta, a house on Henry Street, where I used to go before school every day. Now, we used a lot of locations in Carroll Gardens simply
Just
because...
because we wanted it to make sense.
Right.
Because some TV shows you're watching and they'll say, oh, in 10 minutes they went from the Bronx to Coney Island.
Right.
We wanted it to make it authentic where when she's walking down the street, she's actually going from Henry Street to Court Street.
Right. And Lisa's neighborhood had a lot of similarities where she grew up when her family moved from Our Lady of Peace Parish over to Bensonhurst. And Bensonhurst, Midwood, I don't know exactly where Bensonhurst. So the thing is that all the places that she remembers, I don't know if it has the same vibrancy as what Carroll Gardens is, because Carroll Gardens continued to morph and become something different. Mm-hmm. And where she lives, it became very residential and not all the activity that you get in Carroll Gardens.
Right.
Carroll Gardens, one of the worst parts about it is they film so many TV shows there, it's ridiculous. Every 5 minutes there was another filming going on, from Blue Bloods to The Americans. The Americans, a huge swath of it was filmed there.
Yes.
Well,
we came out of the house and I said to you, what is the guy from Sons of Anarchy doing outside our house?
Right. Adam Arkin had his brief a stint in Sons of Anarchy, but she remembered because we had just seen it like a couple of days ago. And she said, "What's he doing here?" I said, "I don't know."
And he had a script in his hand.
Right. So they were looking for locations and they were figuring out, doing the blocking or whatever that nonsense is.
And the opening scene was on the corner.
Yes. The opening scene, they changed it around and they put a new mailbox and a phone booth and nonsense.
And a fruit stand or whatever
right.
in front of the laundromat.
Right. So, but there was a lot of filming, in other words. So we used a lot of locations. So my grandmother's house, my Italian grandmother's house on Henry Street is known as house.
So and then there's the Irish grandmother, Granny Meg. Her house, we had placed her house on Hoyt Street.
Where it actually was, and there was actually a funeral parlor in the basement.
Correct.
So that was all true.
And then we show where Speranza and Sean live, that they live on Third Place.
And that was
based on our old home.
Our old apartment where we lived in Third Place for 10 years. So
we didn't imagine them. We lived them. We walked them. And we knew what they felt like.
We reimagined them for the purposes of the book.
Now, here's the one little spot that we're going to talk about might be a little nostalgic. The disappearing Brooklyn. Not all of these places are here. This is the part that really gets me. Things like
actually, we talked about the only two that are still there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's talk about the ones that aren't there anymore. Places that we frequent. I don't even know how many times. And anyone listening, you probably went to Red Rose on Smith Street.
Well, people from the neighborhood would know that.
Yeah, but people that don't even live here anymore, at one time or another probably went to the restaurant because it was a viable restaurant that was, pretty there for a long time.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, hopefully our vast audience across America, people in Topeka don't remember Red Rose.
Okay, so Red Rose Restaurant was on Smith Street, and it's a bookstore now.
Yes.
They kept the bar. So if you remember the bar in the front, it was a big, long wooden bar. They kept that. The coffee, wine, and beer, I think they sell there. And then the rest of it was gutted, and now it's a bookstore, which we need to call them.
Yes. Hopefully they'll have us to do a book signing.
Because that would be really fun.
Lisa liked to go there, but there was a lot of different things that would happen. But Santa would always come up, and what would he say, Lisa?
Well, You screwed me up.
How'd I screw you up?
Because we're not talking about that now. We're talking about the disappearing Brooklyn.
Okay, so the Red Rose disappeared just like my thought. See, here's our dichotomy. Lisa likes to have things planned out,
Yes,
and she
I
goes
do.
step by step. I just like to let it free flow and come off
And
me.
he screws me up.
And no, it should be a discussion, sweetie.
It was a discussion. You screwed me up. I told you what I wanted to do.
Okay, continue.
All right. See,
Sorry.
this is what happens when you put a husband and wife on a microphone.
Well, because we're different. We're yin and yang, so we do things differently.
All right. You want to talk about well, let's just jump into something, okay? Let's just jump into the memory of Red Rose.
Well, we could talk about the things that are disappearing. Let's go back to that. That's
now
fine.
you got me going back?
Go back. Go back, Carter. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Well, let's just stick with restaurants for a minute. Places that we went to all the time. What
Right.
about Casa Rosa?
Yes.
It was on the opposite corner. We practically lived there.
We were there every day, 2 and 3 times a day. We would have dinner. We had a lot of events there. We brought people there. One really
They
snotty.
had the party room in the back. Listen, Red Rose, didn't your mother have a shower there or something?
No, she did not. That was Sam's restaurant. But Red Rose, we had Lisa's
Sam's
birthday.
restaurant's still there.
Yes, but they're renovating.
We
but
could
it
talk
is,
about that funny pop. Did we talk about that?
oh, I don't know if we talked about the pizza
The
tour.
pizza
but
tour?
Probably not. But
Well, anyway.
Red Rose, we had
Your
Lisa's.
sister had her bridal shower at Red Rose.
Correct. And she also had her wedding at Nino's, which is another story. But that was before I knew Lisa. And then Red Rose, we used to go into all the time. We used to have, like, when we had events or trunk shows, we would bring the designer there.
We would either go to Casa Rosa, Red
Right.
Rose.
So we brought
Marco
Anna Schultz to Casa Rosa. And we had a big beef with them because they didn't want to make the cappuccino.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
After everybody was drinking, we wanted to do coffee. I remember that. Well, anyway, it's not Casa Rosa anymore.
No, it became a book,
It became a coffee shop.
which we needed another one.
Okay, we needed another because there wasn't enough coffee shops, but this coffee shop was special. This guy came from London, opened up a coffee shop and decided he was going to use the abbreviated Brooklyn as the name. And I remember walking by, and he had these letters that he used, this abbreviation, this condensed Brooklyn word. I don't want to give it away yet. And he had it on the neon signs. He had it everywhere, on the awnings, every single place that you could see. He did a great job with advertising, except I looked up on the wall where he had it painted, and it said BKLN. I said, what happened to the Y?
No, that's not what you said. You opened the door and you said, why?
So he kind of abbreviated it wrong. It's BKLYN, and he forgot the Y.
Right.
Now it's another coffee shop, and they just took all of that off, and it's another no-name coffee shop. But he did serve oysters in the back, which was weird.
Yeah, it made no sense at all.
He had an oyster bar in the back room, but it was a coffee shop in the front room.
Red Rose was important because they had a back room that almost everyone used for like confirmations and baptisms and
Casa Rosa.
And we had Lisa's birthday party there one year, and it was a lot of fun. And he had really good Southern Italian food, and his pizza, mozzarella Carosa was delicious.
Everything was there.
He had a lot of good stuff.
Oh, now I'm hungry.
But
now I want that.
Like anything else, things went away. All the restaurants that we like, the only one that survives is Marco Polo. All the rest are gone.
Right. We had a
Every
premiere
single
party
one.
there. We had so much stuff there for the TV show. We really used that location, and we still love it. And when we go and visit, we like to go there. But anyway, talking about disappearing Brooklyn, I mean, don't you remember walking from the store? We would pass by Marietta's,
right.
The two brothers, and they were cranking down the awning in front of the shop.
Yeah, they were in their 80s at the time, but I knew them since I was a kid. And they would sell,
it was a dry goods store.
Yeah, but what he used to do is he used to buy all the off-brands or the irregulars, and he would sell them very reasonably priced.
But a lot of men used to go there for their work clothes, sweatshirts, zipper hoodies, chinos,
right,
underwear.
and they had great prices. I mean, it was amazing prices to get. So I used to buy my stuff all the time.
And socks.
Lisa didn't believe it when I brought her in there.
Well, we had to get house coats for you.
I said I had to get house coats for my mother, but then she saw it and she said, "Oh, this is reasonable," and it was okay. So we used to go in, and then they found out we opened the clothing store because we had been going there for years until we opened the store. We hadn't opened the store yet. Lisa was working in Kevin St. James, so we would still go in there. But then once they heard we opened up a store, all they wanted to do was talk about the rag trade.
Yes,
and about where they would buy stuff. And we say, yeah, Tony.
They had a funny sign in the store, something like, couldn't rush them.
Right.
If you're in a rush, get out.
Right. Exactly. So I would say, Tony, come on, we're going to the Java Center to buy some, some clothes. You want to come with us? I'll take you there. You can, pick out some new styles for the neighborhood. He says, house coats haven't changed from 1910. I don't need new house coats.
Them.
Well, they were.
And pajamas.
Yeah,
and
pajamas.
Women's nightgowns.
But they had great underwear.
But that was the neighborhood. That's what they was. That's what they went there for.
Yeah, you would go there and buy your staples, and and they were great, and they were a lot of fun. And what was funny was he would have his brother was half student, so he would climb up the ladder to the top and pull out a FedEx box and said, "Oh, I know, Jim, you need triple."
He knew where everything was.
You need triple X V-neck T-shirt. I know. Wait 1 second, and he'd climb up the thing and like a monkey when he come down with it. And he said, "Here you go," and I blow the dust off. I said, "Oh, okay. How much is that? $3." Oh, yeah, give me 2 of them. Absolutely, it was crazy, but it was a great neighborhood place, and then it broke, and what did it become?
It broke.
Yes, it broke, and then
now it became You Break, I Fix.
Right, the Russian mob came in there because I think they run that show,
yes.
and they changed it into something totally different, and it was a shame. But the grandson who was working with them couldn't wait for them to.
He worked with them for a while, and then as soon as the last brother went, that was it.
That was it, and he immediately, like within a month, he rented it out.
They owned the building.
Right,
that's why they were able to stay so long.
That's what happened in Carroll Gardens. All of the stores, one of two things happened. If you owned a store and you rented it, the original person who owned the building, who gave you a reasonable rent, and you might have rented there for 50 years, let's say, when that person died and the kids came in, they sold the building. So the new person comes in and said, "Oh, the normal rent is $10,000." So they would go to the store, whatever it might be, a florist or a bodega, a pork store or whatever, and say, hey, a bakery, I want $10,000 a month. You can't have a viable business at that amount. Or alternately, the people who had the store bought the building.
Now, what about, let's tell this story. Mike the Butcher.
Right. So
Good food.
two brothers owned the store across the street from where we lived on Third Place.
So this was between third and fourth place
on Court Street. So what happened was...
everybody went there. He was a butcher. He would, if you want a crown roast,
prime rib,
what is it called? With the little feet, the little feet on it.
I used to go. I was good friends with Mike, and he used to cut up, make me the beautiful veal cutlets. He made beautiful eggplant that he would have cooked, and Lisa loved that. She would love the plant. He already cooked. They had pre-cooked stuff.
But he was a butcher, so he was had all the butcher meat there, plus it was a grocery store.
And I would go in the morning and say, listen, I need 2 pounds of veal cutlets cut, pounded very thin, or I would need, a crown roast or whatever it was, roast beef, whatever I wanted to get. Gee, now you'd have to take out a loan to buy a roast beef. But he would have all the stuff for me. So, but I used to buy, it was also a convenience store. The brother ran the other side where they had vegetables and they had Brillo and, cleaning products, whatever you needed. They always had a little... grocery area too.
He even had Lotto.
Yes, all of that. So I walk in one day, and as I started to go, and I'm noticing, wow, they used to have 6 boxes of cereal. Now there's one.
It got really bad.
Or one thing of Brillo instead of the 5. I'm saying it looks like they're selling this stuff off. Is there a problem? I don't really know. So I'm standing in the line, and it's Cacchione is standing in front of me. Cacchione in Italian is for a gossip, orienta. It's another term. She turns to me and said, do you know they lost the store? I said, really?
No, I think she said...
No, she said they lost the store.
She did say that. That's right.
They lost the store. It's going to be a bank. I said, oh, my God, that's terrible. No, I didn't know the guy's business. I never
but it got twisted. The bank took the store.
She said the bank took the store. So I said, oh, man, maybe they had a...
That's how she worded it.
Right. I said, maybe they had a mortgage and they couldn't pay it or something. Mm-hmm. They had a loan. Anything's possible, right?
Things were starting to close in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it made sense.
But it was a precipitous close. A lot of them are closing quickly. 1 or 2 would close every couple of years. Now all of a sudden 5 or 6 would go out in one shot. So I said, oh, that's terrible. So Mike heard her, and he turns to me, Jim, I was going to tell you.
Yeah, but we didn't know for a couple of days because I actually cried. I felt bad for him. Being a business owner, seeing him lose his place to the bank, I was very upset. I was heartbroken for him.
Right. So he said to me, we
didn't know for a few days.
I wanted to tell you what's going on. I said, oh, well, I'm sorry, Mike. I heard there's a problem. He says, yeah, the bank took the space. They're going to pay us $20,000 a month.
It was $25,000 a month rent.
So I said, oh, I guess then he says, yeah, my kids don't want to do it and I can retire or even I could get another. We were scheming for him to get another space to continue to be a butcher because he wanted to still work and his brother didn't, because he liked his job. He liked to be a butcher. His brother didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore. He wanted to retire and they'd get a nice stipend. I
think that bank is still there.
But he said to me, I make more money if I rent it than if I stay here and work and I don't have to work. I said, well, hopefully that's going to work out for you. But it's in my experience when people who worked as hard as you do don't work anymore, bad things happen. But good luck, It
seemed to work out for him, though.
But it was kind of funny that they said the bank took it, and really the bank gave them lots of money.
Yes, it was the opposite of.
And that's what they needed, another bank, because that would make the 10th one in the neighborhood. When I was a kid, there was 2 banks. There was Citibank on Columbia Street. You had to go all the way to Columbia Street to put in your bank book and your Christmas club. And there was the Hamilton Federal Savings on Court Street.
Court Street and, Smith.
No, it was on Court Street.
What was the one that's on the corner that's now Trader Joe's?
Well, that was the Dime. That's the Dime Savings Bank.
Okay.
That's on Atlantic Avenue. Yeah, but in our neighborhood,
beautiful bank.
Yes, in our neighborhood there was 2. There was Citibank, which was that's now a yarn store that was on Columbia Street.
Right.
But when I was a kid, I used to have to go there and deposit my father's $25 a week check to the bank, and in Citibank, and then there was the Savings Bank on Court Street where everybody in Sacred Huts had a Christmas club where you put in $1 a week.
Yes, the Christmas club.
But then there was another bank, and some bank you never heard of, like Santander or the Bank of Buenos Aires or something. Why did they come to New York? Why did Carroll Gardens have to have another bank?
Let's talk bakeries.
Well, bakeries.
Well, I just found out, before we get to the other one, Mazzola's up for sale.
Yeah. Well,
Now, do you remember when we would go out to Long Island, anywhere we were invited to go, or to the family, we were the ones, because we were in Brooklyn, we had to bring the bread. Everybody wanted Brooklyn bread, no matter where we went. And we would buy 20 loaves of bread. We would have prosciutto bread. We would have olive bread. We would have regular bread, sesame seed.
the round loaf bread, the round bread.
All different bread
Right.
that we decided to put it in the trunk so we don't smell it or that we don't eat it.
Well, we always bought an extra loaf of yard bread.
I know, but we started doing that after because it was coming from the trunk and all you smelled was bread in the car.
Right. Well,
And it was torture the whole way
traditionally,
to Long Island on the Belt Parkway.
traditionally we would buy 12 loaves of regular bread, 6 seeded and 6 not, 2 prosciutto breads and 1 olive bread and around the brown bread. And what would happen was we would eat 1 whole prosciutto bread
Because it just came out of the oven.
and it smelled so good.
It was so good.
Yeah. So we couldn't not do that. Even when we did the show one time, we got in the little van that they drive you. So we had gone down to film at
Valentino Park.
Valentino Park, which is another location in the book. So I said, "Oh, stop here." I jumped down and I bought two loaves of bread and I just started ripping off pieces and giving them to the guy. "What are you doing?" I said, "Just eat this." And he said, "Oh, this is delicious, Jim. This is unbelievable. Oh my God."
They never had prosciutto bread before.
Right. Not fresh, hot, and piping out of the oven. But this week, something else happened.
Yes, sometimes it happens.
Caputo's Bakery went out of business. And if I seen one, there's a lot of these new Facebook
One
groups.
day the gate, I just feel like one day the gate is down and it never comes back up.
Right. All of these
Put a
nostalgia.
sign. They put a sign in the door on the door.
Well,
They're
yes.
done.
They put a lettuce explaining themselves, saying
People put flowers in front of the door.
right. And you go to different bakeries. Everybody had a different thing. Like Mazzola's had the great prosciutto bread, and Caputo's had the great pepper biscuits that I used to love.
Pepper biscuits, I have to say, were great.
Right. And they had also great jelly donuts that they had. I don't think they made them. They had them brought in, but wherever they got them, they were excellent.
But they made their black and white cookies.
Black and white cookies, and they had the pepper biscuits, and they had the Frank Sinatra bread, which is the very, very thin bread, loaf of bread that was excellent. So they had a lot of little specialty things that I used to go into, and when I would shop, I would hit each store and get whatever specific thing that they made that I liked the best,
I think it's 122 or 124 years that they were open.
Yeah, I think 124. But what happened was the new New York destroyed the old New York. So what did they do? They put in a bike lane and explain what he said.
Okay. So outside, if you went, this is how I think they survived. Even if you left the neighborhood and you loved that bread store, you would come once a week and get your bread. So it's kind of hard to park in Carroll Gardens. So they did have street parking. And if somebody drove you, they would pull over and double park for a minute while you ran in and got whatever you needed and ran out to the car. Once they put the bike lane right outside of the bakery, that whole length of Court Street, there's a bike lane now. There's no parking there. You can't pull over at all. And rumor is that they lost 20% of their business once the bike lane went in.
Right. And that's the idiocy of the current New York, where they changed things. Like they got rid of parking spaces to put the city bike in. And they thought that was a great thing. Maybe it is.
The bike lane, there's no parking. There's no parking lots. All parking lots are gone. We used to park in different places when we lived there. There's no parking lots anymore.
Right. They totally don't want anyone to have a car, which is fine. I don't really care. I don't drive, so I'm not in love with cars myself personally. But you want to be able to have a delivery truck pull up and drop stuff off.
Yes.
And not have to get a ticket because they're in the bike lane.
Yeah, but you depend on your customers. If they're coming from other parts of Brooklyn, they will drive to your shop.
Right. So,
and they can't find parking.
And it's just the city not caring about businesses. They just totally don't care. They want you to go out of business. That's what they want. I think that's their plan.
We looked, and they're on the block of Caputo's. There's 2 stores next door to the bakery that are empty.
Right.
And I think there's a pediatric on the corner. And then there's 2 empty storefronts. There's Caputo's. I think the chiropractor's still there, but he owns the building. That's your cousin.
Right.
And that's it. That's all that's there on the block.
Well, that's what happens. And I see it everywhere. It's not just there. I'm seeing it here in Oceanside where we live now. There's a lot of empty storefronts, and it's terrible. You would think that people would want to have their store occupied instead of being empty, but sometimes they make more money for it being empty. And the reason why is because they can flip it, you know? So they sell it on potential. So they say, oh, everyone in this neighborhood is getting 10 grand a month rent. So if you buy this building, you'll get 10 grand a month rent. So some idiot comes along and says, oh yeah, this is great. I'll buy this building. And then they turn around and they look for somebody to rent it for 10 grand and they can't because nobody can pay that amount of rent.
So breaking news. I just got a picture of Caputo's Bakery sent to me via text from my friend John with all these signs they made, we will miss you.
Right.
From the daycare center, all these different people put up signs on their door missing Caputo's.
Now,
and flowers. Look at all the flowers.
It's lots of flowers. One of the things that I want to say, though, is what would happen. I was one of the last people to live in Carroll Gardens for my group of people that grew up. When I was a kid, there was 150 kids in my class. 3 classes of 50, right? And all the kids,
were big classes.
All the kids I grew up with left the neighborhood. There was maybe 3 or 4 of us left when I was still there. And then I left, and then there was maybe 2 left. But what happened was people get married, they move away. They move to Jersey, California, Long Island, whatever it might be. And I would be walking along, and we had the store, and people would say, hey, Dolan, what are you doing? I said, I have a store. We put a store on Court Street. That's great. That's wonderful. But I want to go to Aiello's. I wanted to get some salami and stuff. Why isn't it open? I said, what? He's going to stay open for you to come once every 20 years? No, that's not how it works. If you want a place to stay open, you got to come all the time and spend money. That's how it works. So Caputo's was a great store. Mazzola's is a great store.
But people did come from other neighborhoods. It wasn't that the people that, if they left New York altogether and they came once in a blue moon, but they used to come from Bensonhurst, Bay Ridge. They traveled from Staten Island, from Long Island. They would come to Mazzola's. They would come to Caputo's and, purchase X amount of stuff.
Right.
And the holidays, too.
Right. Well, the holidays was the big thing.
And the line used to be down the block.
Right. And like Court Pastry, the line would be down the block. It would be crazy busy. And they would sell so much stuff. Court Pastry is still hanging on. And they own a couple of buildings. They actually threw out the guy that owned the card store that Lisa was friends with.
I
He
know.
was upset.
I
Became
love
a
that
gym.
card store.
Everything changes. Things change. It's the way of life,
But let's just jump back to the Red Rose for a second.
Oh, now we can do it.
Yes, we could do it.
Now it's in order. It's on the next thing on the page. Is that why we're doing it, Lisa?
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm thinking about it spring and
because it's not
warm.
A conversation. It's a list.
It is not. I just like to have my thoughts thought out, laid out for me.
No, you don't. You like those to be everywhere, which way. Continue.
I'm just thinking it's spring. It's getting warm. There's a certain time of the year that I would stay away from Red Rose because it would get too hot in there. Because the owner she would lower the air conditioner or turn it off while you were eating.
She had a rule. She would look at it.
There was only one window in the side.
If there was
crack it open, and you would be like, sucking the air in.
If there was less than 6 people in a restaurant, she would shut off the AC.
Listen, she shut it off with much more people than that.
She was very cost conscious.
She didn't like being cold. I think there might have been the vent near her where she.
And I was always
at the front table.
I always said to her, "I don't understand why you're cold because I always thought the devil was very warm. How could you be so cold?" And she would say, "Get out of here, Dolan." And I'd say, "Okay, thank you, sweetheart."
But they would sit at the front table,
right?
And sometimes we would sit at the bar. The bar's still there for the bookstore. They kept the bar. But we would sit at the bar.
Waiting for a table.
And we would see how many people would whisper to Santo.
They would sidle up to him and say, I don't want to say anything, but that elderly woman in the front table is smoking.
She's smoking.
And he'd say, that's my mother. She could do whatever she wants. If you don't like it, go have a Frappuccino at the Brooklyn Canteen and leave me alone.
So Santo would come over, and what would he say as soon as he walked over to the table?
Well,
Today, my father made these gorgeous rice balls. I mean, after he said hello and everything, but when he went into his shtick of what he would say about the specials, he would say, today, my father made these gorgeous rice balls, or whatever it was.
Well, his father liked to keep his hand in, so he would do the specials. He wouldn't do the normal cooking. He had cooks for that, but chefs for that or whatever. But he was actually...
But he would have fun doing the specials.
Right, because their family had a candy store on Cheever Place when I was a kid, and I used to go into all the time. And he used to feed all the kids at Sacred Hearts. You would go in at lunchtime, and you didn't have to have a presidential security detail to go out when you were a kid in those days. You just went out.
You just went out.
Lunch, so you would go there and you would get a sandwich, and he had, meatballs and chicken cutlets. But my two favorites was the Frankfurters. He would have 6 or 8 Frankfurters and a half a loaf of Italian bread with a big thing of sauerkraut and mustard. Oh, that was delicious.
Oh, my God.
And then my absolute favorite that when I make it now, Lisa smacks me. I make potatoes and sauce, which is boiled
and
potatoes.
What does he do with the potatoes and the sauce?
Put them in Italian bread and you add sauce on it, and boiled potatoes. Oh, it's so good. It's total carb fest.
Do you think that is?
Not enough. There should always be more carbs. That's my rule. Put more carbs in. It makes it tastier. Mm-hmm. That's why God invented carbs, because you're supposed to eat them.
I mean, carbs are good. You just can't have
things that are delicious. You're supposed to eat. You know what I mean? So that's why God made carbs. That's my position, and I'm sticking to it. Just like the carbs stick to my ribs.
Yes. So things.
So what would happen is Lisa would be. So we're opposite. I never grew up with air conditioning, so the heat doesn't really bother me. The hotter the better.
Talk about the prevailing winds.
Yes. So I like hot, spicy food. So I would sit there. I wouldn't care. And she would say, "Oh my God, I'm sweating. I'm dying."
I don't like to sweat while I'm eating.
Right.
I don't want to be hot while I'm eating hot food.
Well,
unless I'm out at a beach.
Okay.
Like if I'm inside a restaurant and there's no breeze and it's hot, it's uncomfortable. Who's with me? Especially if you get all
I don't care. I like it
nice.
spicy and spicy. I don't care, but that's why we're different, and that's why our love is here to stay. Because we have 2 sides of the coin, yin and yang, opposite and positive and negative, yin and yang, and all that good stuff. So we like it differently. So she would get upset and say to Santo, turn up the AC, I'm dying. He'd go, oh yeah, no problem, Lisa, turn it up. 2 minutes later, his mother would go, well, it's freezing in here, and turn it down. Talk like Rodney Dangerfield, but that's another story. I get no respect.
I'm trying to scan the whole neighborhood to see what was
we
stores that have been gone. I mean, yeah, we've lost some bakeries, dry goods stores, some grocery stores.
When's discount? When Lisa and I first got married, I said, all right, Lisa, whatever you ever want.
It's like, let's make a deal.
You go into Wynn's and the guy's got it in the cellar. Just tell him, I need this. And he say, it won't be on the shelf, but he'll have it.
He'd go down the basement and he'd rummage and find it.
So Lisa was sick. She had her gallbladder out, and I had to take care of her. But the problem was
HIPAA.
Oh, that's something no one should know.
Well,
don't worry, she's got a lot of gall.
He was in the guest bedroom letting me sleep, and I was trying to get him.
I was watching TV very low.
And you know when you have to wait, it wasn't very low, it was loud. And you know when you have to wait for that lull right at a commercial break, it's like a second of silence. So what did Jim do?
So I said, I'm going to go to Wynn's and get you a bell. So I go to Wynn's and I say to Richie, Richie, I need a bell. He says, what do you need a bell? What are you, a cow? You got to ring a bell?
No, it was the one that you tap.
Well, that's the only one he had. He had the one that's like in a hotel that you tap to make.
We still have it.
To make the concierge come. So we still have it, and we let Lisa's mother use it now when she wants it.
Now if she needs us. She rings the bell.
But it had every single thing you could possibly want. I mean, you went in there and he said, hey, I need my Farberware broke. I need a Farberware. Oh, yeah, Farberware here. It's in the back.
Everything, anything you could imagine.
It was beautiful. It was a discount store, so it was dry goods, like you said, cups and sauces and, plastic stuff and whatever we would get when we would have a party.
You need an ironing board. You need a curtain rod, anything you needed in the house.
And it was also like a job lot. So occasionally he would buy something and he would say, oh, look at this. He has 10 different kinds of chia pets.
But then there was decoration.
Yeah, it's Christmas time. It was great for Christmas time. He had all kinds of great Christmas stuff. But what happened? It became a doggy daycare.
Yes.
And out the door they went.
There's a lot of doggy daycares. Kids and dogs are the stores.
And nail parlors.
And nail polish.
So if you want your dog and your kid to have a manicure, you're covered.
The jewelry store is a nail parlor.
Right. We used to go to a jewelry store. It was terrible. It was the worst thing ever. Because
Jim says it's the worst thing
I
ever.
was working.
I say it was the best thing ever.
I was doing the tax season, and Lisa became friends with Casali that owned the jewelry store, and very good friends with his friend Antoinette. And she would hang out there, picking out the pieces that she wanted.
Yeah, on Saturdays.
And then when I would come in, he would say, "Hey, Jim, Lisa likes this one." I said, "I'm sure she does. Don't you have one that she liked like a couple $1,000 less than that?"
I got a lot of jewelry that year.
But like everything else, we became friends with everybody. So when we had our Christmas party, who was in a store? Who was in our house? The guy that owned the jewelry store, the lady that owned the Thai restaurant, the girl that does Lisa's
automotive store.
the guy that owns the auto parts store. All of our friends and people that we know, we became friendly with.
And that year I found this toile garland that I kind of used, a ribbon that I used as garland. And it had like this design on it. But when it was on the tree, it looked like prosciutto. Right. So we laughed very hard because every time I said, doesn't it look like prosciutto on the tree? It's my Italian Christmas tree.
Well, we became friendly with everybody. We became very friendly with the dentist. You know, he's a good friend. And we invited him for dinner to our house a couple times. But I would run into him. Like I ran into him in a cafe that we talked about.
Yes, Jenny's Cafe.
I walked in there one day and he said, "Hey, Jim, what are you doing? What are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting some coffee." Oh, he says, "Oh, that's on me. Get coffee for Jim and Lisa. And give him 5 donuts. What's the sugariest thing you got there?" Because he hasn't been in the dentist in a while. "So is a lot of sugar on that? Get it." And I'm going to say no. I said, "Yeah, sure. I want that. Cinnamon roll, put a little extra icing on it." And I could do with that. And all those people were our friends and are our friends. Of course, we don't see any of them anymore because we're not.
It was great because, we were merchants in the neighborhood. And when we escaped our store and go hang out in the other store, they would do the same thing with us. So we kind of went back and forth. It's the same in the book.
Right.
Between Speranza and Ginny, it's the same thing.
Right. But they commiserate over the problems of owning a store. If you ever owned a store and know about having a small business, you will know all about those problems.
Yes. Well, if you ever walk down a block in Brooklyn and you feel like the energy is still there, even when it's not, you're probably right. We didn't invent these places. We just remember them. And if you want to visit them again, they're all waiting for you inside the Brooklyn Witch. So.
Yes, they are. And here's the thing.
And there'll be more. And book 2 has a lot of it.
Book 2 is going to be a little bit more neighborhood centric. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the neighborhood. Also the Never Never. The neighborhood of the Never Never. The Never Never is also a neighborhood. So there's things that you could talk about that as well. And it's also going to be a little bit more talking about things that actually exist now. We're going to throw a few in. And we threw them in also locations that you can still go to, like Valentino Park that we had mentioned before.
Right. You feel like you could just reach out and touch the statue.
I was in school with Louis Valentino. We were in grammar school together and then Severian together. And he was a heroic fireman who passed in a fire, and they named
they also have a memorial in Carroll Park.
Yes, they have a memorial because
that was across the street from the shop.
Yes, his father was a big shot in the Union, so he had a lot of pull. And I always regret that he wanted me to go on the docks, and I didn't do it. Boy, was I stupid.
It's all right.
I could have stole a lot of money and been really rich and had a mansion, but I didn't do it.
A McMansion.
Yes, that was my curse. I was too honest.
That's all right. I love you.
Yeah.
And you got to meet me.
Yes, that's true.
So, I think that's our time for today.
You think? I don't know. It's only 48 minutes.
That's enough.
You don't want to go for an hour?
No.
Oh, there's so many things on your list there. You got a list.
I checked everything off.
You sure? Check your list twice, like Santa Claus.
I'm checking the list, and I see everything's checked here. We're good. We're good to go.
Well, here's the thing. Brooklyn, like anything else, changes. And enjoy, you guys that are living there now, look at the stores that you like and enjoy it, because you know what? In 10 years, it's going to be gone. It's going to be something totally different.
You see, this is the only thing. I thought, because when we first moved, after we got married and we moved into the apartment on Third Place, right? the neighborhood was starting to change a little bit, but it was still a neighborhood.
It was in transition and it was picking up speed. And here's the funny thing. Cecilia, who was a neighborhood advocate,
Yes.
was walking around and all she would do was curse out the new people. So we were building the store and she walked by and goes, oh, look at this place. What is this, a boutique? We need another boutique.
I know.
I said, hey, Celia, this is my place. Shut up. And she said, oh, it's yours? All right, then I'll let you slide.
Right.
And gee, thanks. But I guess you can't. I know there's a lot of Carroll Gardens blogs and a lot of blogs about Brooklyn, South Brooklyn, and everything else. And there's a lot of people that are nostalgic and right now there's tons of posts about Caputo's, right? And people are talking about it and saying, oh, it's a shame, it's this, it's that. Things change. I understand. That's the way it goes. And you can be nostalgic and think about the places that you missed that aren't there anymore. And we're hoping to recreate a little bit about it by writing about it in the Brooklyn Witch. And hopefully some people will enjoy it and remember, and some people will be going to a new place that they didn't even know, but feel at home and feel like it's their neighborhood and feel like they're invited to Lisa and Jim's place and hang out and have a party.
That's the intention.
That's what we're going for. So I think Lisa's list is finished. She ticked everything off twice.
I said if you want to visit those nostalgia places again, they're waiting for you inside the Brooklyn Witch.
Yes. So thanks for listening. I hope you had a good time. Remember, the Brooklyn Witch is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo,
Just go
Apple
to
Books.
brooklynwitch.com and you'll see it all listed there.
And also go to brooklynwitch.com. Look for our podcast. You can see other podcasts. Why not write a little comment on the podcast? That would be great.
And don't forget to follow us on Spotify and hit that notification bell. Turn it green so you'll know when there's a new podcast up.
And here's the thing. If you have a chance, if you read the book and you like the book, which I think if you read the book, you definitely liked it because it's a great book. Drop a little review on Amazon and say how much you liked it and say, hey, this is
out with the algorithm.
Yeah, that helps. And I was just reading one of my favorite authors, Andrew Warman, and I got very depressed because he wrote a new book, right? And it said over 8,000 positive reviews on Amazon.
Wow.
I said, you're killing me, pal.
Wow.
So if we could get some reviews.
That's my new goal.
Yes,
Ding, ding.
that would be great. But if you have a chance to write a review or you have a chance to drop a comment on the website, and we're also going to
follow us on Spotify.
Yes.
And then set your notifications. You'll get a notification once a week on Friday that a new podcast is up.
Yes, we put one out today from last week, and this one is going to go out next week. So I hope you guys enjoyed our little palaver here, a little back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Jim and Lisa show.
You ticked everything off. Now I ticked you off, and it all worked out perfect.
Nice.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Happy trails to you.